Welcome back to Donkey Kong Country 3, and I just got the jet skis, and now if I press the Y button on the overworld, I can jump, apparently. Or, hold on. How do I jump? Oh, I see. If you hold down the Y button, you can jump. Okay, so now I can go to the upper world here. Boom. And this is K3. Wow. I think K3 is actually the second to last world in this game. So I'm further along than I thought I was. Cool. And today we're going to be trying to get through K3. That's my objective for the day. It might take 2 episodes, it might take 3, I don't know yet. I'm just really happy to see something besides a summer camp overworld. This actually looks like an ice world, you know? This is awesome. Finally, I'm out of the summer camp zones. Okay, oh wow. Off to a terrible start. I want to point out that in my last episode I started to tell a story about Nintendo Power, and I never actually finished that story. So I will finish it now. Basically, back in the day, Nintendo Power would give you a free player's guide if you renewed your subscription. And they'd usually give you a choice of like 3 or 4 different guides that you could get. Remember back in '93 or so, you could choose between like the NES Atlas, the Super NES Atlas, the Game Boy Guide, or Mario Mania. And I chose the Game Boy Guide back then because Game Boy was the only system I had. And later in time, I got some other really cool guides. I got Chrono Trigger for a subscription renewal. Sorry, couldn't think of the word subscription renewal. I got Chrono Trigger for one of my subscription renewals. I got Super Metroid for one of them. I think. I might have just bought Super Metroid on its own though, because I really needed to find that last missile. If you watch my Super Metroid playthrough, you know what I'm talking about. What else did I get? Oh, Mario RPG was one. That was a great guide. But later, like around 1996 or so, I had a Nintendo Power renewal, and the choice of guides consisted of a bunch of guides that I didn't particularly want. Like I think one of them was Cruisin' USA or something like that. So or like Blast Corps, actually. I think it was Blast Corps. It was like a bunch of N64 games that I didn't have at the time and wasn't going to be getting anytime soon because I didn't have an N64, didn't have any plans to get one. I mean, I really wanted Mario 64, but I wanted I really wanted Mario 64, but I wanted a PlayStation more because PlayStation had several games that I was interested in at the time. So basically, I was still subscribed to Nintendo Power for the Super NES coverage of things like Mario RPG and Secret of Evermore that came out around that time. Now, Donkey Kong Country 3 had also come out around that time, so this was one of the guides available. I think the others were N64, and basically, for lack of any better options, I got this guide. And even though I didn't have this game, and I didn't even play this game for another 14 years, but I had the guide. And later I sold the guide and got like a cool $15, $20 for it. But the main thing I remember about the guide is that I studied it in anticipation of playing this at some point. And then I just never did, you know. But I remember a lot about the game from the guide. That was my bad. I actually scratched my forehead and got hit. Hold on. I have to kind of adjust myself here. There we go. Adjust my headset. Oh, this is lame. So yeah, Donkey Kong Country 3 guide. It's great when you have no better options, which is also kind of true of the game. If for some reason you can't play the first 2, play this one. Also, if Donkey Kong Country Returns isn't available, play this one. Hell, I'd even take Tropical Freeze over this one. Tropical Freeze, that's the 5th Donkey Kong Country game, and As far as I know, everybody loved that game except me. It got rave reviews. I found it to be very tedious to play because the controls were much heavier, if that makes any sense. Your characters felt very weighty in that game. Like they just kind of thudded around, and it was, it didn't have the light feeling that the other 4 games had for me. In terms of the controls, you weren't like bouncing around. You were just like thumping around, and I don't know, I didn't like it. However, it did grow on me after a while. After I played like maybe 2/3 of the way through Tropical Freeze, I started to go, hey, this game's actually not bad at all. It's definitely got the level design down. I'll say that much. Really, all 5 Donkey Kong Country games are excellent. You can't go wrong with any of them. I'm talking about the 2D games, the 5 2D games. I don't know about Donkey Kong 64. I don't even know if that's part of the Country series or if it's its own thing, but I never played it. Oh, look at that. Made a mistake and got a bonus barrel. Yeah, you can't go wrong with any of them. Although this one, I would say, could probably be a lot better. Hold on, I got one more idea. There we go. Wow, I can't believe that worked. Alright, so as some of you may know, minecart type levels are not my forte. Any kind of on-rail level, not my thing. I find them fun, but they always end up being way too hard. I don't know, game designers love to take levels like this and just ramp up the difficulty. Oh boy, now we're adding snow to it. Great. Okay, continue barrel, please. It's gotta be coming up soon. Alright, where are you at, continue barrel? There you are. Whew. Good. Oh man, I was hitting the jump button. Wow, I do not like these guys. I was totally jumping, but I guess I didn't get quite high enough on that one. If only I were Rob Van Dam, I would have totally gotten high enough. Pretty much recite every level of the first 2 Donkey Kong Country games. I could tell you what every level looked like, at least. Maybe not the names of them, but I can tell you, like, World 3 of the original game had like a forest level, then a tree level, then a forest level, then a poison pond or something like that. And I can recite a lot of the second game's levels too, and yet I can't tell you like any of the levels of this game, and I just played this game like this week and I still couldn't like recite the levels. It's weird. But yeah, I think there was a pipe level earlier that had a like a minecart or something that I had to go through the pipe with. Okay, so that's another level in the bag. Let's see how much further I can get today. No, I actually didn't. I'm actually really tired right now. I should probably end this episode already. But it's not long enough yet. I need to get another level on here. Oh, right, halfway point. But yeah, this really reminds me of the waterfall level in the Lion King game. Except the controls in that game were a little bit less responsive than this game, so it was probably much harder to climb the waterfall in that game. Wait, what? Where am I supposed to go? I don't understand what I'm supposed to do. I don't get this at all. Wait, what? So I'm supposed to go up. somehow, but you can't really go up when the barrels all explode. Oh wait, there we go. Now we're making a little progress. This is bizarre. If I didn't have the, well, and I just fell through it. If I didn't have the spin glide thing, I wouldn't be able to do this. So it's a good thing I have Dixie. This is really bizarre. Is this how I'm supposed to play this level? Because this seems like very counterintuitive game design. Very counterintuitive and very tedious, to say the least. This can't be what I'm supposed to do. I mean, I can do this, but it's so tedious. Wow, look at that. There we go. Insanely tedious. That seems to be the only real trick to this level, though. It's like a one-trick level. Just climb barrels. Ah, here's the weird bird that follows you but doesn't really do anything. Man, I really thought I could clear that wasp. And now I don't have the spin anymore. Damn it. Oh, there goes the bird. Still not real sure what the point of the bird is. It's the oddest animal pet in this game. And you can only use it for a minute, too. Like, seriously, what was the point of that whole thing? These guys. Well, that was close. I didn't actually think it would get that close to me. And the level's over. Nice. We made good time on that one. It didn't take a zillion tries like the sled level did. Crack shot croc. Okay. Let's see. In the second Donkey Kong Country game, this spider dude was very useful. I think it was probably my favorite animal in that game, actually, because I like creating platforms and jumping on them. Very cool stuff. Wait, what is this? What is this? What is happening? Oh, I don't like this at all. I don't like this at all. So the gimmick for this level is that you're constantly getting shot at. That is just great. Luckily it seems pretty slow. Oh shoot. It's definitely intimidating though, to have this crosshairs following you around. The good news is, I got pretty good with this spider from playing Donkey Kong Country 2. So, none of this is particularly intimidating for me. There we go, look at that. Look at me go. I got this. So, should be coming up on a checkpoint pretty soon, huh? Well, it looks like the crosshairs are just getting a little bit faster now. Yeah, they definitely are. The frequency of shots coming at me is very much increased, and it's causing me a fair bit of grief right now. Seriously, where is the checkpoint barrel? There it is. Okay, that's not cool. Whew. After I hit the checkpoint barrel, I kind of just like relaxed for a second. Like, okay, we're good now. Okay, so now we know that there are lava pits down there. Wow. Oh, that was close. It almost got me. Alright, DK barrel. Just what I need right now. Now, if I can just not get hit. I really like the spider because he can rapid fire, which is a lot of fun to play around with. What? Why did that hit me? Yeah, I gotta say, I do not like this crosshairs mechanic. It's okay. It's okay, we got this. Alright, you gotta watch out at this point because the timing totally changes up. Oh, shoot. Did I make it? Is this the end of the level? Wait, hold on. If I like spam this guy, what can I get him? No, doesn't look like it. Oh, there we go. Nice. Boom. Well, that was one of the easier DK coins to get, for sure. And booyah! That's another level in the bag. And another episode in the bag. So thank you for joining me. Tune in tomorrow, and I will finish K3. Very cool. Ice world. I like it. Like I said, I just like having a world that doesn't look like a summer camp. Alright, I'm recording on a different microphone right now, so the audio might be a little different, might be a little lower. That's okay though, because this stage has some music that I really, really like. So I think I'm just going to listen to the music for a couple minutes and give my voice a rest. So you'll hear from me shortly. Alright, so full disclosure, I actually checked this level out beforehand. So as you can see, I already got the DK coin. So yeah, I cheated a little bit. Just took a quick gander at it before I started recording. Again, just to kind of get the lay of the land, make sure it wasn't another sled level, because who wants to deal with that? I like this level a lot. It's pretty cool. It's nice to have just a straight platformer level that doesn't really have any gimmicks. You know, these sliding guys could be the gimmick, but they aren't really. They're just kind of an obstacle. You don't have to rely on them to progress. And the sky's really cool. The way it goes from like day to sunset to night. Really like it a lot. So yeah, this level so far might be my favorite level in the game. Oh man. Damn, just barely made it up that last hill. It's a good thing I had an extra hit, huh? Alright, so that does it for Lemguin Lunge. Very cool level. I liked it a lot. And now I believe it's time for the boss. And the boss of K3 is a very interesting fight. He's not really like any other boss fight in the game. It's more like a weird kind of target practice minigame, I guess. And the blue orb on the left actually tells you what plane you're throwing snowballs at. So if it's on the lower plane, you'll throw your snowballs at the lower plane and so forth. And you press up and down to shift between the planes. It's actually a lot like the vertical stages in the Contra for the NES in a weird way. Now you could either fire standing up or fire ducking. And the enemies would be on two different planes. Some would be ducking down. Some would be low to the floor that you would have to duck down to hit them, and some would be higher up, so you have to stand up to hit them. This is vaguely similar. This guy bounces between two layers, and you have to switch your targeting between the two layers to hit him. It's definitely not an easy fight, but if you have a lot of experience with shooters, like especially vertical shooters, which I do, it's a bit easier. And it's actually a pretty fun battle, I have to say. I like this battle. It is pretty tough, though. I mean, at first, anyway. After you try it a couple times, you get the hang of it. It just becomes fun. Alright. I think we've almost got him. We just have to land a hit here, which is easier said than done. You have very little time to hit him. Also, you have to hit him right on that glowy thing. You can't just hit him on, like, the side of his body. The worst part is his retaliating strikes, where he fires all these cannonball things. Yeah, they're pretty hard to avoid, to say the least. I call them cannonball things because they remind me of King K. Rool's cannonballs at the end of Donkey Kong Country. I guess the second game, too, he had a lot of cannonballs. I wonder what he's going to be like in this game, because I cannot remember. Spoiler alert, King K. Rool is going to be in this game. I just don't know when. Oh, just took a hit. And boom, 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 we just got him. Look at Kiddy Kong. Kiddy Kong just swoops in and steals all the heat at the end. The dude is unbelievable. Alright, that does it for another episode. Join me next time for whatever comes next.